Hey there, Cinemaster fans! Hope you're ready for some movie magic. Let's dive right in. The movie starts with a group of army forces heading to transport a zombie far away from the city to isolate it. On the same road, there was a man and his friend driving a car, both looking completely drunk. One of them says they are entering Area 51, which has tighter security, and the other sarcastically responds, questioning if he's drunk and saying there's no one in the area he's talking about. The other man challenges him, saying he'll drive without looking at the road to prove who's drunk. In that moment of distraction, they crash into the large military vehicle transporting the zombie. One of the soldiers checks if the cargo, the zombie, is still secure. As he approaches, the door suddenly opens, and the soldier is initially startled but tries to maintain his composure. Meanwhile, the battalion leader contacts headquarters, requesting medical assistance due to heavy losses from the explosion. Headquarters instructs them to stay away from the cargo and evacuate immediately. At that moment, the zombie escapes, attacking and eating one of the soldiers. It then violently attacks the rest of the soldiers, who attempt to shoot it, but nothing affects it. When the commander decides to confront the zombie, his subordinate urges him to flee. The commander and the soldier run into the desert, hearing the zombie's sounds surrounding them. Exhausted, they try to encourage each other to keep moving. Eventually, they stop when they hear the zombie and prepare their weapons. The commander pretends to be scared, collapsing to the ground. The soldier helps him up, but the zombie attacks the soldier, biting and killing him. The commander, shocked by what he witnesses, tries to shoot the zombie but fails. The zombie grabs and strangles him, biting his neck. After this, the zombie stands, gazing at the nearby city, seemingly planning its next attack. The commander and the soldier are later revealed to have turned into zombies, joining the original one. The zombie heads to Las Vegas, which is in complete chaos due to the zombie invasion. The city is consumed by fear. It's revealed that the leader zombie orchestrated the attack, commanding the others to invade. The bitten individuals quickly turn into zombies, while the unbitten desperately try to escape. A group of people forms to combat the zombies and save survivors. One woman from the group rescues a young girl from the zombies, shooting them to protect her. Despite their efforts, the zombies overwhelm them. Another man in the group uses a chainsaw to cut through cars and zombies, helping trapped people escape. The woman shoots zombies attacking survivors, but their numbers are overwhelming. The group's leader, Scott, he saves a woman from the zombies, fighting them off. A teammate warns him to duck, shooting the zombie behind him. Another woman in the group searches for her daughter, eventually finding her hiding behind a satellite dish. Overjoyed, she reunites with her daughter. A soldier tries to escape the zombies by climbing onto a military vehicle but is overrun and bitten. Military helicopters drop bombs on the zombies, killing them. As Scott and his team flee, most manage to escape, except for a woman and her daughter, who are caught by the zombies. Scott is unable to save them. The military begins bombing the area with heavy artillery from ships. Scott, now working at a restaurant after leaving the military, hears on the news that the government plans to drop a nuclear bomb on the zombie-infested area near Las Vegas within 4 days to prevent further spread. Citizens are instructed to stay in refugee camps until the zombies are eradicated. A man named Tanaka approaches Scott, requesting a meeting. Tanaka praises Scott's bravery in saving the Secretary of Defense from zombies and receiving the Medal of Freedom from the President. Despite this, Scott has chosen a quieter life. Tanaka reveals that $200 million is locked in a vault beneath the zombie-infested area. The money, insured by an insurance company, is untaxed. He explains that there are only 96 hours left to retrieve it. Tanaka offers Scott $50 million to assemble a team and retrieve the money. He hands Scott a map of the vault's location and asks him to think it over before giving a response. Scott later hears a discussion on television between a woman and a news anchor. And we go to the refugee camp, where people are transferred to another place called Barstow. Their health cards are checked to show them to the officials in the buses. The buses move every 15 minutes. We see a woman named Gaith talking to her sister Kate. She asks her to take care of her 2 kids and ensure they arrive safely if anything happens to her. Gaith wants to steal money from a woman who smuggles people out of the refugee camp, telling her sister that this money is the only way she can stay with her child. Kate, however, doesn't want to do anything in the camp, but her sister insists and annoys her. When they hear someone from the camp approaching, Kate tells him, "It is not your business." The man gets annoyed, and when Gaith tries to intervene, he tells her to stay quiet until he finds out what her sister wants. Later, when he asks Kate what she was saying, she replies that she wasn't saying anything. The soldier decides to check them with a thermal scanner and tells Kate that the first symptoms of the disease are fever. To ensure they aren't infected, he scans Gaith and finds that she's not infected. Then he scans Kate and says she's also not infected, but warns her that her temperature has dropped slightly. When we go back to Scott, We find him standing and crying as he sees his wife turning into a zombie. He is devastated and can't believe he might have to kill her with his own hands. He completely breaks down. He begins hitting her in the head with the knife he's carrying, until suddenly, Scott wakes up. We realize it was just a nightmare. His wife did turn into a zombie, but he wasn't the one who killed her, and he still doesn't know what really happened to her. After that, Scott calls someone and tells them that he can't accept the mission, but he will still explain what they need to get it done. Scott says they need two people, one skilled pilot and another who is an expert at cracking safes. Then, jokingly, he says he'll send someone to join the team tomorrow at 4 o'clock. He proceeds with preparations for the mission. Scott visits his mechanic friend Maria, which is overjoyed by seeing him, and tells him that this mission is too risky, but she will be with him. Then Scott visits his friend Andro, who works at a swimming pool and is known for serving important people. When Scott and Maria approach him with the mission, Andro initially refuses, saying he hasn't wanted to see zombies again since the last mission. But when he hears there's money involved, he quickly changes his mind, saying, "I'm with you." Next, Scott and Maria go to find a pilot named Brid Chamber. When they offer her $2 million, she agrees on the spot without even asking about the risks. She says she doesn't want to know anything. She explains her role will clearly involve flying planes. At that point, Scott jokes with Maria, saying Brid hasn't changed at all. Then, the team recruits a guy who is a famous YouTuber, known for filming himself killing zombies. Maria shows Scott some of his videos and mentions he even has dedicated websites for his content. When they meet him, he also agrees to join the mission without hesitation. Scott then finds Dieter, the guy who can open any safe. Scott asks him to join the team, and Dieter agrees. We see each team member preparing weapons, supplies, and personal tricks for the mission. Once everything is ready, they gather for a mission briefing. Scott explains the plan and the location of the zombies. He tells them they'll head out the next day at 6 a.m. One of the men, concerned after hearing they'll be entering zombie territory, gets scared and refuses to join. However, another man steps forward and volunteers to replace him on the mission. Later, Scott goes to see his daughter. In tears, he asks her to come with him on the mission because she's the only one who can get them into the quarantine zone they need to pass through to reach the casino. She agrees to help them. The team boards a bus and heads to the city where Gata is. Upon arrival, they seek out a girl named Layla, who helps smuggle them out of quarantine and leads them to the casino. But suddenly, Kato appears and hits Layla, blaming her for letting her friend Gaia escape and leave her two children behind. Despite the tension, Layla asks Scott to add one more person to the team, bringing along someone from the tents to join them on the mission. When Layla tells him the mission, he immediately agrees. Layla takes them after that, and they arrive at the place where the zombies are. When they go inside, they hear a terrifying sound, so they all run to hide. They find a mutated tiger in front of them, and Layla tells them that if anyone makes a sound or any noise, the tiger will come and kill them. After a while, the tiger leaves the area. Layla then shoots the officer with them in the leg with a gun and ties him up to offer him to the zombies present so they can pass. Exactly 5 minutes later, the zombie comes, takes the man, and leaves. Layla tells them that the hotel in front of them is where all the zombies are gathered, and they must stay away from it. They continue walking and arrive at a strange place. Layla tells them that each person should walk alone in a separate path so as not to wake the zombies. We see her walking among the zombies, trying not to touch them so they don't wake up. But suddenly, as she is walking, one of the zombies wakes up and she stabs him with a knife. If any zombie woke up, she would kill it. But as she continues walking, she makes a loud noise, waking up all the zombies in the area. Chamberlain starts shooting them with her weapon. At the same time, Scott and the rest of the team also shoot the awakened zombies, but their numbers are large. We return to Chamberlain, who is trying to eliminate the zombies. When she tries to open the door to escape after the team, the man working with Tanaka locks the door on her to let her die because he didn't like her. When Goose asks where she is, the man says she stayed inside. Goose gets into a fight with him, but suddenly Chamberlain throws herself out of the window, falling among the zombies. She can't control them, and they eventually capture her. When Goose tries to help her, he fails and ends up blowing up Chamberlain and the zombies. Scott and the others take him, and they quickly escape the place before more zombies come. They then go to another location, where they find another map with Dieter. They learn that several teams had previously gone there but failed to retrieve the money. Scott explains to the team each person's mission for the upcoming period after learning that the government plans to drop a nuclear bomb in 8 hours. We see the man working with Tanaka killing 2 zombies and taking the head of one of them. At the same time, another zombie appears, who was with Kate in the refugee tent. Later, Dieter, Goose, and Darwin head to the location of the safe. They use zombies as shields to pass through the traps. We return to Scott and his daughter Kate. He tells her that he came back to make up for everything he missed. He says he had to kill her mother before she could kill them. Kate apologizes for not agreeing to live with him in the past. After their conversation, Scott turns on the lights in the casino. Maria and Breed go to the rooftop to look for a helicopter they can use to escape after completing the mission. The team then joins Dieter, who asks them to wait half an hour until he opens the safe. After some time, Dieter successfully opens the safe, and when they find the money, they celebrate and start packing it into their bags. Maria tells Scott that she didn't come for the money but because she loves him. At this time, the zombie leader gathers all the undead around him to kill Scott's team after learning they killed his queen. When they finish, Scott searches for his daughter Kate, but can't find her. Suddenly, zombies appear from all directions, and the team starts fighting them. We see Dieter and Darwin shooting at the zombies. When Dieter sees Darwin being overwhelmed by zombies, he pushes him into the safe with the money, locks the door, and sacrifices himself to save him. Scott runs from the zombies, killing them, but Maria can't resist and dies. Scott is saddened by her death, but Guz takes him to safety. Layla runs from the zombies, trying to climb up with the man working with her, but he locks the door on her, leaving her with the zombies in the casino. There are many zombies in the area. Guz and Scott shoot them, but Guz gets bitten by a zombie and blows himself up along with the zombies. When Scott and Layla reach the rooftop to board the helicopter with Breed, the zombie king follows them. Layla tells Scott to board the helicopter while she stays behind. Layla threatens the zombie king with the head of his queen. The zombie hits her in the chest with a stick, but Layla throws the queen's head to the ground, and the zombie kills her. Meanwhile, Kate reaches the hotel where she hopes to find Guz and finds the officer who was with them turned into a zombie in the same place. Scott arrives at the hotel and tells Breed to wait for him while he retrieves Kate. At this time, Kate searches for Guz and eventually finds her along with another woman. When they try to leave, a zombie appears and kills the other woman. Kate and Guz run from the place, and Kate starts shooting at the zombies. Meanwhile, Scott tries to reach Kate and hears gunfire below. He arrives just in time to save her before the zombies attack them. He throws a grenade at the zombies, takes Kate and Guz, and they quickly head to the rooftop. They don't find Breed and think she left them, but she suddenly appears, and they all board the helicopter. However, a zombie jumps onto the helicopter and attacks Scott. Breed tries to throw the zombie out of the helicopter but fails because it is too strong. Scott tries to shoot the zombie but gets bitten. Breed sees the nuclear bomb heading toward the area where the zombies and money are and feels frustrated. Scott manages to shoot the zombie in the head, killing it, but Breed loses control of the helicopter, and it crashes. When Kate wakes up, she finds her father, Scott, who gives her a lot of money. He tells her to leave him and go live her life. Suddenly, Scott started turning into a zombie, but she killed him and sat there crying. At the end of our movie, Dwayne came back with a lot of money. He went to rent the plane on his own. But after that, he discovers that he will turn into a zombie after the bite her, and he does not believe what will happen to him. Thus, our movie is over. Stay tuned for more upcoming movies. See you soon, and goodbye.